Welcome everyone to the Rainmaker Report. I'm Andy Thompson, and here are 3 breaking cybersecurity stories that you need to know about. First up, Mexican banking customers are in the crosshairs of a fresh fraud operation. And the entry point is something you probably clicked 100 times this year. We're talking about CAPTCHAs, in particular a fake CAPTCHA. Elastic Security Labs is tracking this threat actor as REF6045, and their payload they're calling SCMBanker. Targets include customers of Mexican banks, fintechs, payment processors, and crypto exchanges. So it's basically anybody in Mexico who moves money digitally. And here's how it works, okay? Victims will land on a page that looks like a routine, prove you're human check, but it's a little different. This is the ClickFix pattern that we've been seeing everywhere. Now, the page tells users to press the Windows key plus R and then paste a command that's already in your clipboard to verify your identity. Now, that command kicks off a PowerShell script that installs SCMBanker on that machine. So technically, there's no exploit, there's no CVE. It's just social engineering wearing a Cloudflare costume. Now, once installed, the toolkit is built specifically for banking fraud. What it does is monitors your browser activity, waits for the victim to log on to their bank, their fintech app, or their crypto exchange, and then hijacks the session or harvests their credentials for later cash out. Elastic's write-up actually walks you through how the operator structured everything, including their toolkit for that final money movement step, which is really kind of the whole point of the operation. Now, currently, affected users are concentrated in Mexico, which makes sense. But here's the thing. This technique is actually really portable. This will work in any region, any bank, any language, okay? So it's just a matter of time. You see, if ClickFix works against Mexican customers today, it's going to work against your customers tomorrow. And I should also mention here that there's no vendor breach notifications you're going to get because there's no single vendor affected. This is a user-targeted campaign here, folks. So the response falls on you to protect yourself. So here's what you're going to do, okay? If you pasted anything into a run dialog after visiting a CAPTCHA page, assume you're screwed, okay? You'll immediately want to reset any sort of banking or crypto exchange passwords, and do this from a clean device. You'll also want to rotate any credentials that you've used on your browser and turn on the hardware-based multi-factor where the banks support it, right? I should also advise you to check your recent transactions going back at least like 30 days just to see if they've already been screwing around with your money. Oh, yeah. And this one's really important, okay? Tell your less technical family members that no legitimate CAPTCHA will ever ask them to open PowerShell. Moving on to our next story. Another day, another deluge of driver's license numbers dumped into the hands of criminals. Today, we're talking about Assurance America, a U.S. auto insurance provider that just disclosed a breach affecting roughly 6.99 million people. Yeah, as of today, that makes it the largest known exposure of driver's license numbers so far this year in 2026. Yeah, and we're only halfway through the year. Yeah, so here's what happened, folks. Assurance America detected suspicious behavior on their network. They kicked off this investigation and then eventually confirmed that attackers had, yes, stolen a ton of their customers' data. We're talking about names, driver's license numbers, and in some cases, additional identifiers tied to insurance applications and policies. The company is now sending notification letters and offering the usual credit monitoring package that nobody actually finds comforting anymore. It's good to know they care. So anyway, this is not just another, huge data dump. This one actually stings a little bit more than the average data breach. And that's because we're talking about driver's license numbers, the quiet workhorse of identity fraud. You see, unlike a credit card number, you can't just cancel your license and get a new one the next week. In fact, most states actually tie that number to your identity. And this isn't just for a short period of time. It's for years, sometimes for life. Yeah, trust me when I say that criminals love driver's license numbers because they can use them to do all sorts of things like open accounts, file fake tax returns, apply for loans, and pass knowledge-based authentication checks that banks and government portals use. So this is serious. Think about it too. I mean, we're talking about 7 million people here that their numbers just hit the dark web. I think that's going to negatively impact a few people. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, insurance companies have really become one of the more juicy targets in the threat landscape for threat actors because, well, they hoard the data that attackers dearly want. They own the full identity kit, vehicle information, home addresses, and lots of times we see a ton of medical data in that too. And the sad thing is that we saw this all before with the massive auto insurance hacks back in 2024. It's pretty clear the industry hasn't fixed the underlying problem. So what's next? Okay. I would expect class action lawsuits from impacted victims. Also expect attorneys general to start asking some pointed questions. And most importantly, I would expect a lot more identity thefts to start happening directly because of this breach. So the takeaway for you is if you've ever had auto insurance with Assurance America or any of their underwritten brands, you need to freeze your credit right now. Okay. You don't want to wait for the letter. Also, treat any call claiming to be from your insurance as a hostile threat actor until you verify it yourself. All right, moving into our last story. This one's pretty cool, folks. You know those annoying YouTube ads you just can't seem to get rid of anymore? Well, I've got some good news. DuckDuckGo is picking a fight with YouTube, and we all get to benefit from it. You see, the privacy browser now blocks most video ads on YouTube directly, including the pre-rolls and the videos that interrupt in mid-playback. And the cool thing here is there's no extension, no tinkering. It's baked right into the browser. You see, DuckDuckGo's browser, which is available for Mac, Windows, iOS, and Android, has had, tracker blocking and their Duck Player mode for a while now. Duck Player has already been stripping ads and that sort of stuff for a while by doing it in a private embed. But what's new here is that the ad blocking is expanding beyond the Duck Player and now into the regular YouTube experience inside the browser. So now you go to YouTube, you watch your video, and, well, the ads just mostly don't show up. Yeah. DuckDuckGo is calling it a work in progress and admits that, some of the ads may still slip through, but the default posture has changed now, okay? So while DuckDuckGo has been fighting the good fight, Google has spent the last 2 years hammering back at these ad blockers. They've done a ton of things like throttling uBlock origin users. They killed off Manifest v2 extensions in Chrome and rolled out those anti-ad block pop-ups that lock the player until you disable your browser. So now we have a mainstream browser shipping YouTube ad blocking as a built-in feature, folks. That's a direct shot at the revenue model that YouTube keeps trying to wall off here. You see, I can't wait to see how this plays out, frankly. And we're going to see it in the release notes, right? DuckDuckGo has confirmed that the rollout is live in its current browser builds across the desktop and mobile landscape. And from what I can tell, this is pretty stinking awesome. Videos load, ads don't, and there's no premium subscription pitch here. So, yeah. What do I expect to happen next? Well, I expect Google to punch back. They always do. I would expect server-side ad injection, player changes, detection scripts, whatever it takes to make this sort of blocking more difficult. DuckDuckGo will have to just basically keep updating to stay ahead. And this is just, again, like a cat and mouse game that we've already seen play out in the extension world. So the takeaway here is if you've tried this, ad block feature, let me know how it works. It kind of gives us a reason to use DuckDuckGo, actually use the browser. So test it, see if it holds up, and watch how fast Google responds. All right, folks. Well, that about wraps up today's stories. This is Andy Thompson signing off.